The most popular machine for a floor sanding job is the higher tech drum floor sander, which takes belts of paper. The sander leaves a gap of 5 centimeters around the edges, so you will need to also hire an edging sander, which takes discs of paper. If your floorboards are in a very good condition and you only want to do a light sand, we have the American finishing sander, which is a flat orbital sander. Before you start, it's important to have the right equipment. So you'll need safety wear including eye protection, ear protection, dust masks, knee pads, work gloves, as well as a hammer and a nail punch. Sanding paper comes in various grades, and each sander takes its own individual style of paper. You will need a large flathead screwdriver to secure the sandpaper to the drum sander. So before you start, make sure all the nails are countersunk below the surface with a nail punch. Make sure the room is well ventilated by opening all the windows. For ease of transporting, the sander comes in 3 different sections. To assemble, loosen the clamp bracket and slide the handle into the handle bracket. Adjust the height of the handles so that your arms are slightly bent when standing upright behind the machine. Tighten the clamp bracket firmly to make sure that the sander does not run away when you start it.
Make sure you tighten that bar.
Connect the cable at the rear right-hand side of the floor sander body. Align the plug with the pins, push in and twist clockwise to lock.
Make sure you connect it to the right one there. Make sure you twist.
Slide the exhaust tube into the exhaust bracket and push fully home.
Hose on.
Putting on your sandpaper, make sure that the sander is unplugged. Choose the sandpaper you want to use. In general, start with a medium paper and move up or down in the grades depending on the condition of your boards. Lie the machine onto its back. Inspect the drum for any stones or objects that may have gotten lodged in it during transport. Loosen the 2 paper clamp screws with a coin or a suitable screwdriver so that the clamp bar raises about 1/2 inch only. Do not remove the screws completely. Check the directional arrow on the sandpaper. Kneeling in front of the machine, place one end of the sandpaper under the clamp bar so that the notches align with the screws and the clamp bar. Carefully holding the sandpaper in place, rotate the drum 1 revolution. Tuck the other end of the sandpaper under the clamp bar and use both hands to squeeze the sheet tight around the drum. Make sure to square to the edges of the drum with no overlap, and both ends of the sheet are equally distant under the clamp bar. Firmly tighten up the screws. If the screws are not screwed in tightly, they will vibrate loose and break. You will need a large flathead screwdriver to do this. If you use a small screwdriver, you will not be able to apply enough pressure to tighten up correctly. Go back and forth on either side to make sure that they are evenly screwed in. If in doubt, repeat the above procedure. Check that the sheet is skin tight around the drum. Loose or damaged abrasive sheets will tear during sanding and can be expensive to keep replacing. Rotate the drum to ensure it is moving freely. To start, connect the power cable to a suitable power supply, ideally located behind or to one side of the machine and work area. Keep the power cable behind you at all times and be aware of it. It's easy to get tangled up in your feet or run over it with the sander. Hold both handles and lean the floor sander back to lift the drum off the floor. Switch on by pushing the on-off switch. Gently lower it to the floor. Guide the floor sander in a straight line at a slow walking pace. Do not force or hold the floor sander back. Allow the machine to do the work and always move at an even pace. At the end of a pass, while still moving forward, tilt the floor sander back so that the sanding drum comes clear off the floor. Pull the machine back to the starting point and lower it again. Move the machine over so that it overlaps the area just sanded by 3 inches and start to sand the next pass, repeating the above technique. Always ensure that the floor sander is moving when in operation and the sanding drum is in contact with the floor. Never lift the back of the machine when sanding. Never apply pressure to try and increase the rate of sanding. Never bounce or drop the floor sander on the floor. Always lower the machine gently. Never dwell in one place. Move steadily at all times. Never allow the power cable to come into contact with the sanding drum. To start, sand your floors in a diagonal direction from top right to bottom left and then from top left to bottom right. This will even out uneven boards. Then sand in the direction the boards are running in. Start in one corner and tackle the floor in strips overlapping these about 3 inches. Once you have sanded the entire floor, repeat the process using progressively finer grades. Replacing the sandpaper. Sandpaper will rip if it is not applied correctly or if it hits a nail in the floor. To replace the sandpaper, unplug the sander and lie it on its back. Unscrew the clamp bar. Fully check all the way around the drum to ensure all remnants of the sanding sheet are removed. Check under the clamp bar as paper can lodge here. Finally, take out the exhaust tube and check in there. When finished, to disassemble, unscrew the clamp and remove the handle. Twist out the power cable. To lift, use the lifting point at the front and the handle bracket at the back. Do not lift at the plastic front cover. The edging sander is used to complete the sanding job by getting into the areas that the floor sander cannot reach. Place the machine on the floor and remove the cable from the bag frame and check that the cable is fully unwound. Lower the dust bag support frame and expand out the cloth bag. Make sure that it is securely tied in place. To put on your sandpaper, make sure that it is unplugged. Turn the machine upside down. Remove the wrench from the clips inside the skirt of the sander. Unscrew the bolt and remove the washer. Place the bolt through the sanding disc and carefully thread the bolt back into the sanding pad. Take care not to cross thread it. It should screw in easily. When finished with one sanding disc, remove the sanding disc. Do not put one sanding disc over another. When you're finished your sanding job and gathering all your bits and pieces together to return to hire here, check that you have this spanner with you. It is easily forgotten. To operate the edging sander, plug it in. You can stand or kneel behind the machine on one knee and hold both handles with the power cable behind you. Tilt the sander back so that the sanding disc does not touch the floor. Switch on by pushing the on-off switch and hold in place with your thumb. Now lower the sander slowly forward so your brace disc comes into contact with the floor. As the disc turns in an anti-clockwise direction, you will find that it's easier to go from right to left. Work progressively, moving the sander in a sweeping motion from side to side. Beware of radiator pipes, the sander can cut through them. To switch off, release the pressure on the switch and it will automatically return to the off position. As with the floor sander, make sure that you empty the dust bag into a metal bin outdoors.